Welcome, everybody. It's the April Product Spotlight webinar. I'm Paul. We do this every single month. I am Pinpoint's head of customer success here in the US. And as always, I'm joined by my colleague, Ed, who's one of our wonderful product managers here at Pinpoint. Each month, we host one of these sessions to walk you through what's new in Pinpoint, share a few tips to help you get the most value from the product, and sometimes we'll even give you a sneak peek at what's coming soon. So a couple cool features to walk you through today, one of which I feel like is that wonderful intersection of easy to use, but also super valuable. So I am going to get out of your way, turn this over to Ed, and he'll walk you through those new features. So Ed, take it away.
Fantastic. Thank you, Paul. Hey, everyone. Nice to see you all again. Today, the big one is our Hiring Copilot. And for those not in the know, that is our agentic AI assistant that's built into every candidate record in Pinpoint. It can do things like it can retrieve the context you need from the candidate, prepare the right next steps in the process for you to help you with moving the candidate forward. And also with your approval, it can take actions on your behalf as well. So a super powerful agentic AI assistant built right into the Pinpoint platform. So I will share my screen and I'm going to show you just how it works. So with this job open here, I've got a head of product job in the UK here. And once the Copilot has been enabled, there is now a button here that says Copilot. I can click this to interact with this candidate's particular record. So I'll click that and you can see we have a sort of chat window here, and then I can write prompts, so I can get back some save prompts. I can even talk to this thing, but we'll start with the basics. So in here, I want to write a very basic prompt that I want to have this system create me a short summary of the candidate and the highlights from the resume from this application that they've made to our platform. Now, there is some links to do that with some setup prompts that are built in already, but I will pretend I'm typing that, but I'm actually going to copy and paste it in for now, so you don't have to watch me spell terribly on a live webinar. So I've done that and I will press enter. So the system is going to go away and have a little think about that. And then hopefully in a second, it's going to create me a short summary of the candidate and the highlights from their resume. And here we go. And I can see that it's got the candidate's details there at the top, and then some key highlights from the resume, such as 7 years at a particular platform, currently as payroll integrations module. So lots of useful information out of the resume there. So really very helpful, just a basic summary. Now, that's useful, but it's also very brief. So we can do some more complicated things too. So I've got a candidate here that's actually been through an interview with us, and we have interview notes in the platform. And so I can ask the tool, the Hiring Copilot, to summarize the interviews we've had up to this point. So I can use what's called a save prompt. Now, I've created some myself, and to review these, I can either click one of the buttons on the right-hand side here from my sort of most popular ones, or if I use the / I can view all the save prompts I had and even go and create new ones if I want to create some prompts that I use regularly to come back into this. But for now, yeah, I want to have a summary of the interviews so far. So that prompt is summarize the interviews with the candidate that have taken place so far. Again, system's going to go away, have a little think in the background, do some reasoning. And then has brought up a summary of the interviews we've had so far. There's been one 30-minute phone screen with our recruiter, Dave Edwards. And here are some of the things they discussed and the biggest challenges they've had and lots of other details that came out of that. Sidebar, I said there interview notes in the platform, and you might ask, but how did the interview notes and transcription get there? I will give you a very quick sneak peek, because you could add them as comments or other methods through like an integrated transcription tool. But actually coming next month, so join our next month's webinar too, we do have interview transcription as part of Pinpoint coming next month. So a little bit of sneak peek for you on the webinar there. That is something coming soon. But that allows us to have our Notetaker join interviews and then summarize, and then also print out the transcript of interviews as well. So that is a tool that's coming soon. And that data is then also available to our candidate record. So here the Hiring Copilot has taken that information and summarized that to me. So that's great. The candidate was good. I'm going to move them on in the process. And so I want to do a prompt now to take action on this candidate to move their stage. But rather than write this out or use a save prompt, what I can actually do is talk to this as well and use a little bit more natural language. So for example, I can press the little mic button down here and say, move this candidate onto the next stage, and pause that. And yeah, it's transcribed the words I said correctly. Hopefully now it's going to offer me the option to move the candidate onto the next stage. I say offer me the option because rather than do that directly, that's me asking the system to take an action on my behalf. And so I want to make sure that users retain control of this. There's a human in the loop always for any decisions that get made. There's no sort of automatic happening in the background here. So it's asking me to confirm the next stage in this workflow is a group assessment. Is that what we want to happen? I'm going to say yes. And so it's going to come have a little think about that. And you'll see here now the candidate has been moved on to the group assessment stage. So the tool has recognized what I've said, asked me to be sure that it's doing the right thing before it does anything wrong. And I press yes, and now it's got away and done that. So super quick. So that's quite a basic move the stage. That's quite a simple thing I asked it to do. So I'm going to ask it to do something a little bit more thorough, again, a bit more language to make sure it can interpret me correctly. So I'm going to click the mic once again. I'm going to say, Write a follow-up email to the candidate thanking them for the last interview and telling them that I'm going to invite them to the next stage, which is a group interview, and they'll get the invite shortly. Also just mention I'm looking forward to speaking to them again. Okay, so quite a lot more words there, a few ums and ahs, but the system has correctly interpreted that and has written what I've asked it to do. So again, it's going to have a think in the background for a moment, and it's going to write me the follow-up email to that candidate with the correct name, with the correct subject. Looks like it's done what I've asked it to do. Yep, it's asked, it said it's going to invite to a next stage of the interview process, will be a group interview. They're going to get a calendar invite, which is true. And in the meantime, if they had any questions, reach out, and I'm looking forward to speaking to them again. So that has correctly interpreted my instructions. Again, because I'm asking it to take an action now, it's asked me to confirm this is appropriate and good, and I think it is, so I can confirm that, and that can then send it to the candidate. So if I confirm, that's now going to send that off to the candidate as well. So that's just a few things that the system can do. It has the context, as I say, of this candidate and all the things around them, such as their application details, their resume, any offers we've made, scorecards, comments, messages, all the things that really have happened in their profile at this point. So you can ask it to do lots of things and multiple steps at the same time as well. So a super useful tool. This is free to use and it's available to everyone, but you do need to reach out to us to have the system switched on for your platform. So if you'd like to do that, there will be a button appearing momentarily at the bottom of the screen here. So yeah, you can register interest in this. Also, you can reach out to your customer success manager if you know who they are directly. Also though, don't forget our support team exists and they can direct you towards your customer success manager. They're over in our chat icon on the left-hand side here, and you can come in and ask a question. Our support team are in there, all US and UK business hours. They respond in, I think, sub 2 minutes. So please do reach out in there and ask them if you want to get this system set up for you as well. So that's Hiring Copilot. I can see there'll be questions flooding in, I'm sure. So we'll come back to questions at the end. I'm going to do a couple more things and then we'll do a big sort of Q&A session at the end of it. So that is Hiring Copilot. Next up, we have a slightly smaller feature, which is something called All Job Access. So for those who create our platform, we're familiar with the new job page here. And if I click into the new job page, one of the settings you're often going to be asked when you're setting up a job is what is the visibility of this particular job. Now that is visibility as far as candidates are concerned. So whether that's something that goes on your careers site or perhaps into employee dashboard, internal job boards, but also it governs internal visibility too. So it says which users in the system have access to this. So we have obviously the common ones of public jobs, which appear on our careers site, any job boards that you've got connected to Pinpoint and the employee dashboard. We've got internal, where jobs only go into employee dashboard and internal feeds. On top of that, then we also have confidential jobs, where the posting isn't posted anywhere, but you can give candidates a direct link to apply to the job. So that's kind of hidden from the outside world, but it's accessible internally to Pinpoint users. But then we also have private jobs, and private jobs are sort of the most, the strictest level of access, where you can only have candidates apply via a direct link, but also the job is only visible to the person who created the job and users they have specifically given access to that job to. Now that's useful in some cases, particularly perhaps around replacing people or senior hires where you need to keep things quite confidential and locked down. But there are also cases where there are users of the platform, either for reporting purposes or just because they're super users, need to have access to all of those jobs regardless of the level of visibility there. In the past, it's been possible to give people access to private jobs, but on a one-by-one basis. So I'd have to say explicitly this user every time I create a new private job, and that's a bit cumbersome. So once in a while, have an access that allows people to be sort of super visibility users that have access to absolutely all jobs. And that also helps with reporting if they're reporting out of the whole platform, because those jobs will be included in reports too. So to do that then, if I come into the access group area of Pinpoint, which is in our user management page, I can either give that ability to specific users or to a whole access group. So I have our administrators access group here, and I want all of my administrators to be able to see all jobs in the platform, regardless of what the job's visibility setting is. So I can click on the access group here and go to the visibilities tab. Now, once this is working, this tool is on, there is a new setting at the top of this page here, which this is the new thing we just added, which says visibility over all jobs, including private and confidential jobs. Before I could give access to sort of whole company jobs, but that didn't include private jobs. This one does. So I can tick this, and then all the further settings go away because this is now saying I have access to all the jobs. I can save that visibility, and then these group of users now will always have access to all the jobs in the platform, regardless of that setting. I can always confirm who has access to a job. So I've got a job here that's already been set up. And underneath where we looked at the visibility settings before, there is also an area where I can view and manage the users who have access to this job. And if I click on this, I can see that lots of people, well, one person has inherited access because perhaps they have access to the department this job is located in, or the job's location, or some other level of our visibility system. But these people in red here have visibility over all jobs because these are all my administrators of the platform. And so these have all got access to this job, no matter what setting I choose in the visibility area. So a small but mighty one, hopefully useful to some of you. The last thing before we go on to Q&A, a little bit similar AI theme, but a little bit different. We have launched a Pinpoint MCP server. So for those not in the know, MCP servers are a tool that allows AI agents, like external AI agents, perhaps Claude, desktop Claude Code, Cursor, or Windsurf, to connect to the data that's inside your Pinpoint platform and then use that data in its work. Now, this is primarily focused perhaps at developers, but also at people who use tools like Claude in their sort of co-work system to help them do their task on a day-to-day basis. And Pinpoint now has added a connector so you can add this into things like Claude. And that's called an MCP server. So there's a full set of documentation on this at developers.pinpointhq.com. And we can send links out to anyone who's interested afterwards as well. But some of the things you can do for it are really quite interesting. So, for example, I have taken this out of the system earlier. And with Claude Code, other AI agents are available, but I've used Claude and I've given it some sort of natural language prompts, but using Pinpoint data, it can then return to me what I've asked it. So for example, the top one here, I asked it to give us our top 3 application sources this quarter, which is converting to hires most effectively. So I asked that as a prompt, it's gone away and is now produced me that report. And I can see the details here in what it returned to me inside Claude. So that's really, really useful. But it can do lots of things. So I can prepare a report, but this time I want an actual Excel sheet to come out of this because I want to forward this on to a team. And so in this one, I've asked it for the basic personnel details of everyone I've hired in the last 3 months. And again, we've given that prompt to the system. It's gone away, had a look at the data via this MCP server, and has then produced off the back of this a table you can see here, including all the details of those candidates. Reporting obviously is a bit of a theme in this. There's lots more things it can do, but if I want to go a little bit further than that, I can also ask it to produce quite visual reports too. In this case, I've got it to give me a breakdown of the number of applicants in each stage of all the jobs we have open at the moment, and also then dictate which which 3 jobs are the closest to being filled and have the highest number of applicants in the further stages. And so it's got a way how to think about that and produce me a more sort of visual, graphic-based report, which again, I could then forward on to people, and all done, say, via natural language prompts, but using the data that's built inside Pinpoint. So lots of use cases that come off the back of that. Those are situations where the MCP server is reading data from inside Pinpoint. It can write too. Again, this is generally recommended more for sort of people who are very certain about what they're going to do with the data, because writing things is a little bit more, a few more precautions perhaps. But you can also use the MCP server to write data back into Pinpoint. And the example we had was, I've got some open jobs, and actually I want to add a note to every single one of those jobs. Now, when you recruit in high volume, that may be thousands of jobs at any one time. But I've asked it to go and for all the open jobs I have in the system, add an app note at the bottom saying that we won't be processing application in the second part of April because we're on a retreat. And it's gone away and done that and added this note to every single job in the platform that I have. So that's an example of it writing data back into Pinpoint by the MCP as well. So a super useful tool. Also, if you're building integrations to Pinpoint, you have your own tool stack and want to build your own integrations, you can use the MCP server to do exactly the same thing as well. So a super, super useful tool. In order to make it work, you do need to give access to this your MCP server with an API key and your subdomain. You can find those in the left-hand side of Pinpoint. Under the settings menu, there is API and webhooks. You can create a new key. And this is where you can set what access the MCP server has to your data. So for example, in the example where you don't want it to ever write anything to Pinpoint, I can just give it perhaps read access to the applications in the system. So it can read that data and do the reporting type stuff, but it's never going to be able to write data back into Pinpoint. So there's no risk of anything, data being written unnecessarily and so on. So that is the MCP server. And that concludes the demo.